Good morning, happy Tuesday. Today for me is October 1st, and I'm starting off today. Well, I started today with working for a couple hours, but now a friend and I are going hiking because the fall colors are in full swing right now in Utah, and so I'm putting on my socks, kind of struggling a little bit. But now that October has officially started, I'm going to be starting on my fall writing goals. So today we're hiking to a lake. I'm going to be bringing my notebook with me because I'm ready to really get started on Project Veil. And when I say really get started, I have gotten started. I'm 6,500 words into it so far, having a wonderful time writing a palette cleanser. And I'm so excited to speed through this first draft. Not crazy speed through because it's only gonna be 30 or 40,000 words. So in a month or two, be able to write the rest of this novella. And I know what scene comes next, so let's grab my notebook and head out to go hiking. Okay, it's now October 3rd. I wrote a paragraph when I was on my hike because it was a little too chilly up at the top of the mountain by the lake when the sun finally disappeared behind the mountains. So my hands were shaking so bad that I didn't want to keep writing. And then yesterday, October 2nd, I didn't write, but today is October 3rd and now I'm heading to a coffee shop to get some work done. So I just got back from the coffee shop and I just made a grilled cheese because it sounded so delicious. But I went to the coffee shop expecting to work on Project Veil. And then in the car, I was coming up with some new lines for my sci-fi romance project, which is the other project that I wanted to work on during this fall. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to hold myself back. I'm not going to force myself to work on Project Veil if my ideas for my sci-fi romance are flowing. And so then when I got to the coffee shop, I wrote down those ideas and then I pulled open my document for CBH, which I talked about it in this video. But basically when I was drafting my sci-fi project that I call Project CBH, I had written it from 3 or 4 points of view, and this one point of view takes place on a completely different planet. I don't think it ever overlaps with the other characters or chapters in CBH. So I'm taking this one character's POV out of CBH because it's sci-fi, but it doesn't relate to the rest of CBH at all. And I actually have a lot more than I thought I did for this project. So I pulled over all of the chapters that I did have written for my sci-fi romance out of CBH and into a new document. And I already have 15,000 words. Do I think they're the right 15,000 words? Probably not. I also thought I wrote CBH a lot more recently, but in my CBH document, it said at the top that I had started it in 2018. So anyways, we're gonna just breeze past that. But I have 15,000 words, and so then I started reading through these 15,000 words because I'm assuming I'm gonna end up rewriting most of it. But I also wanted to see what I had and see if rereading this sparks any new ideas. So I wanted to reread it before I then start writing new stuff. And I haven't finished reading these 15,000 words yet, but that's what I'm working on. Completely abandoned the paragraph that I wrote 2 days ago for Veil. And for right now, I'm leaning into my sci-fi romance project. That might just be for the next 2 hours, or that might be for the next 2 weeks. We're not sure yet. Also, Something I forgot about is that Vale and my sci-fi romance have the same name for the main character. And so at some point, I will need to pick and choose which project I think this name actually fits better for. And I think it's more of a sci-fi name, which I just loved the name apparently, which is why I named two of my main characters it, but I will need to pick and choose. And then unfortunately, that means that I need to rename more characters. This is a never-ending theme in my life, and I just want to know what to do about it. It's now October 6th. I really need to get back to working on Project Vale or my sci-fi romance, because I haven't done a whole lot yet this month, despite setting some relatively ambitious fall goals. So hopefully later today I will get working on that again, but for right now I'm heading to an art market. So I was working on something else not writing related when I was outside, but then as I was getting ready to come back inside, I was like, you know what, let me just open up my Vale document, see if I want to write for like 5 minutes. And I wrote 235 words, kind of just like stream of thought, which works really well for me in rough drafts. But now that I've already done 235 words, now as I'm transitioning between having cookies into my next thing, I kind of want to sit down for another like 5 to 10 minutes and see if a couple more paragraphs happen. Fingers crossed. I just wrote for like 10 more minutes and I wrote 313 words. Again, just kind of like stream of thought, which was great because I was also doing some brainstorming. So I will likely delete a couple of those words when I then go in to write those ideas. But it was a couple of paragraphs and then a couple ideas for what comes next, which is really helpful. And I love when my writing sprints go that way. So now I'm at 548 words for the day total so far, which is honestly a pretty good day, considering that for the first 5 days of October, I'm at a total of 649 words, not including today. When I should be hitting a rough average, if I'm trying to write roughly 20,000 words during a month, that should roughly average out to be 667 words a day if I'm writing every day, which I know that I don't. So realistically, that's probably more like 1,000 words for 20 of 30 days in a month, hypothetically, to hit my writing goals for this fall. So now I'm going to move into doing something else, and then I'll probably do a 10 to 15 minute sprint a little bit later, see if I can hit like 700 or 800 words total for the day. And I broke 7,000 words. But don't look at my emails because somebody always comments on how many unread emails I have. Let's just focus on this pretty number. I almost said, don't worry, I'll go through my emails this weekend and, unsubscribe from things and stuff. And then I was like, it's literally Sunday at 11:08 p.m. Like, the weekend has happened, so it's probably not gonna happen for a couple more days. But I know that stresses some of y'all out. Okay, just kidding. It's now later, as in 12:46 in the morning. I got very wrapped up in editing a YouTube video, so I will not be doing any more writing tonight, but honestly, I'm pretty happy with my 548 words. I also like how I'm ending tonight with notes on what happens next, so that when I sit down tomorrow at writing group, hopefully the words just flow. So with that, I will talk to you guys tomorrow. I'm back from writing group now. It went really well. It was a very productive writing group for me. And I didn't know what project I was going to work on when I went into it, because I think earlier in this video I told you guys that I was going to reread what I had written for my sci-fi romance project in CBH. It's getting very confusing, but I spent like the first 15 minutes reading over the chapters that I had for my sci-fi romance project that I pulled from CBH, and then I was like, no, I want to work on Project Vale. So then I switched back over to Project Vale, and the words just flowed. Like, I wrote 1,345 words tonight just in my Vale project. So now I'm at over 8,000 words, which is awesome. So that just went crazy well. And it's really fun to have like 2 different projects to be hopping between that are different enough, because one is more of like a sci-fi romantic-ish thing, and then one of them is like a fast-paced fantasy story. So like, it's fun to have different genres that I'm working in, even though I'm drafting both of them right now. And I know that I recently made a video about lowering my word count expectations, but I feel like I can go into a writing session and be like, okay, my goal is to sit down, do 200 words. And then as soon as I'm like in the flow state and I hit 200 words, I just want to keep going. And I didn't set like crazy word count goals for this fall. I mean, I did say that I wanted to draft these 2 like novellas, but that also isn't like an insane goal, I feel. We'll see. But I can also write that at the pace that I want to write that at, and I don't have like a crazy word count goal for every day. I just would like to make either really significant progress on these 2 stories or finish these 2 stories. I'd like to finish at least one of them this fall, but both would be like super ideal. So that's kind of where I'm sitting right now. But Veil is now over 8,000 words, which feels very good. And we're a week into October, and so I'm just gonna try and lean into this and see what happens. So with that, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope your writing is going really well, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.